Valley Club, we're just coming off the heels of the Illuminati release and Captain Britain, which got the community hot. But is the Annihilator release even worse? No events so far, no events on the horizon, some bad orbs, and at least according to some data mines, they are required for an event coming up. Is this bad? Can scoping course correct? Also, there's more Mephistos in the wild. Odin is on the horizon. Is it still worth going after Apocalypse and Super Skrull? We're gonna answer all of these things and the rest of your mailbag questions because it is Monday. And if you're ready for all of that and more, then Valley Club, you know what to do. Find that like button and let's go smash it. And welcome back to the ValleyFlyin channel. I am ValleyFlyin and I hope you are having a great day. I hope you had a great weekend as well. In this video, we're answering your questions from the mailbag, also discussing the release of the Annihilators. Is this the worst release team so far in Marvel Strike Force? We'll talk about that, but before we get to all that stuff, if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button for more Marvel Strike Force content. Minimum of 5 Marvel Strike Force videos per week on this channel. Question and answer videos like this, news videos, gameplay videos, reveal videos, everything to help your experience in Marvel Strike Force. But let's get right into the game and talk about these Annihilators. And as of me recording this, no release events for these new Annihilators. Nothing for Gladiator, nothing for Gore, nothing for Endgame Thanos. And tomorrow will be 3 weeks from when Gladiator was first available through offers. So this is a precedent that's never been set before. I think the Hank Pym release event was way later than anything in the game before. And as of tomorrow, I think Gladiator will go beyond that. So what is going on with all these Annihilators? Well, to make up for no release events, what they have done, and I thought this was a good thing when I first saw this, in Arena, the rewards for Arena, you're getting these Annihilator orbs between Gore, Gladiator, now they're with Thanos, and they're getting progressively worse because the first one had 2 other characters in Silver Surfer and Ultimus and just Gladiator. Then it had 2 other characters, had Gladiator and Gore along with others. Now with this one, you're getting Thanos, Gladiator, and Gore along with the 3 characters that were reworked in Ultimus and Silver Surfer. So these orbs are getting progressively worse. And so far, that's the only thing that we've had to get these shards for these characters. I was thinking that these orbs are a good thing because it would be in addition to the event. And that has not happened. We have not had any events. And one of the worst things about this is if we look at the calendar that was released last week, this Cosmic Threat was the event that is going on. It's actually going on right now. This event, this Cosmic Threat solo event, nothing for any shards for the Annihilators, old enemies. We have the charts for that, no shards for the Annihilators. So the first opportunity to get some shards for Annihilators would be the beginning of September, but this does not look like this is a Gladiator release event. So looks like sometime after the 9th of September is when we're going to get the first opportunity to farm these Annihilators, which is not a good feeling. And personally, I think the reason they're extending these release events so far for these characters is obviously they want you to buy these character shards, but they put these milestones in. They did this for Captain Britain, and these long milestones, which kind of delayed the release events. They're doing this again for the Annihilators. And I hope they did that just because they wanted to sell more Captain Britain and because the Annihilators are just an arena team and they're trying to make this a little more exclusive. I hope this is not the release method for teams going forward. I hope it's just 2 bad release teams in a row and we get some better releases. But I think the reason is because of these milestones here that we have going on, and they're going to go on for 36 plus more days for Thanos. We have the one for Gore lasting for 23 more days, and Gore's milestones will last for 30 more days. So I think this is the reason that they're delaying these milestones. I don't think it's a good reason, but I think that's their rationale why they're doing that stuff. And normally that wouldn't be a problem, but we did see some data mines about this old enemies event starting and requiring some characters for Shattered Dimension. Now, the blog post does say it's starting on August 26th. I think that's wrong, especially coinciding with the event that's going on right now in the game. I do think that this old enemy event will start on the 27th. Now, with that old enemies event, it does say getting some illumination orbs from Shattered Dimension. That, I believe, was also supposed to start on the 27th. That's nowhere to be found in this blog post except for how to earn points for this event. So the good thing about this, I do think that devs realize that there are some issues with this event release for these, or this team release for the entire Annihilator team. Now, the good thing about having no information about Shattered Dimension, especially since it's supposed to start tomorrow, is that I think the devs realize that there's some problems. There's some problems requiring the Annihilators for Shattered Dimension, which is supposed to be scoring points for this milestone event. Also, there's some issues with releasing the Annihilators this way. I think they were trying to do something with the Illuminati that was supposed to be different. I think even though most of the community got hot, for myself, I did give them a little pass on that because they're trying to do something a little different. Wasn't a good friendly release, but this one, I do think they got to go back to their old ways of doing things, giving us our normal events, giving us a normal character charge, and not requiring them in events for the main milestone. Now, like I said, I do think that's going to change. Hopefully we get some word very soon on what is going on with Shattered Dimension, what's going to be required. Hopefully get their playtesting in, and it is a good event that is available for everybody. But yeah, a little disappointing with the Annihilators. Let me know your thoughts on the Annihilators. And I think even with the events, I would have still unlocked Gladiator for free and very, very close to unlocking Gore for free. But let me know where you are with your Annihilators, especially if you are free to play and didn't buy any of the offers for these characters. But let's move on to your mailbag questions of the week. Big shout out to everybody that left a mailbag question. And if you want to leave a mailbag question for one of these future videos, make sure you're a member of Discord. The link is down below. Go to the mailbag questions channel, leave your question there. That's where I go for all of these mailbag questions. But first question of the week, Brother Dorky Cool, have a Dark Dimension 7 question. Is Icarus and SuS good in Dark Dimension 7 or not? Because I wasn't using them. But I geared tier 19 SuS, and the only mystic I'm gonna use was Val, and now that I don't have a choice. So I think Icarus and SuS is a better choice than SuS and Val. Val there's a few problems with, and I think that there may be some better choices for Cosmic right now, but considering that you already have SuS done, and the pairing of Icarus and SuS is way better than one of them on their own, I think you can have some value doing those characters. Going through my second run of Dark Dimension 7 as we speak, and yeah, I think that they're good characters. Now the question is, are you going to use them outside of the mode after you're done with Dark Dimension 7? For myself, the answer is yes. I use them in War. I use them in Cosmic Crucible on offense. They're very good in those game modes. If you're not using them as much, you might not want to take them. But yeah, I think Icarus and SuS is still very good in Dark Dimension 7. Still very good outside of that. Although I may start shifting to some of these other characters like Thanos. One of the problems with Thanos, and if you're trying to do Val, is they take the same tempered osmium. You have a lot of characters that take this. You got Thanos, Endgame, Val. We got Nova. We got Gambit here, Infinity War, Iron Man, Morgan Le Fay. Ronan is okay character, but probably not as good as any of these characters. So a lot of characters take this osmium, so I probably wouldn't use it on Val. I'd probably just go with the Eternals and go that direction. But let me know your thoughts. If you have some other thoughts, Valley Club, been through Dark Dimension 7, let me know your thoughts on who you would take. Greetings, Valley, from San Diego. Stay classy, my brother. I am a 4-year-old player that has yet to see the Wrecking Crew join the MSF roster. My question is, are there any teams or characters you want to come to the game? There's a few characters I don't want to come to the game, but yeah, let's talk about some wishes. All right, so Wrecking Crew, they're a cool team. The first time I heard about this team was in Secret Wars comic all the way back in the day with Beyonder, and I think it was Titania that smashed one of the Wrecking Crew into the ground. I remember that comic. So yeah, I would like to see them in the game. This is a cool team. I think they tried to get some of this team into that She-Hulk series as well. So if we were to have more teams, I looked up a few teams in the Marvel Universe because most of the characters and teams that I know are already in the game. There's a few outside ones, but let's start with this one, the Hellfire Club. So we already have Emma Frost in the game. Sebastian Shaw would be a cool member to have in there, and various different White Kings, White Queens, White Bishop, White Knight, Black King, all these different members of the Hellfire Club. And you know, Emma Frost, Sebastian Shaw, I think are the most famous, at least to me. Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin, could also be in there. It looks like he was a member of the Hellfire Club at one point. So a lot of different ways they could go. A lot of different former members here. Betsy Braddock in there as well, Brian Braddock. So Psylocke and Captain Britain already in the game as well. Lots of different members. I think I would go Hellfire Club. They could give Emma a rework, and they could bring a bunch of different characters into the game. So probably reworking 2 characters and then bringing 3 other characters in the game. So I would like Sebastian Shaw and some other members of Hellfire Club. Next team that I saw, Thunderbolts. I know there's rumors right now of them coming to the MCU. Lots of different ways they could go with this team. They could give US Agent, Taskmaster a rework, Zemo a rework, Winter Soldier, Luke Cage, lots of different characters here. We have a Black Widow, Songbird, Moonstone, America Chavez on that team, Hawkeye on that team, Power Man, which has not been introduced in the game yet. We have Spectrum, aka Photon, on the team. So a lot of different ways they could go. A lot of characters already in this game, so they could do a rework of 3 characters, add 2 in, or they could do their traditional 2 reworks and add a couple other characters in there. We also have the Gamma Corp. This would be a cool, Hulk-based team, a Hulk-based villain team would go against them. General Riker. We have General Riker. We have Gray, Griffin, Mess, Gideon, Prodigy. Haven't really heard of any of these characters, but just having the Gamma Corp name and having a Hulk villain team in the game would be cool. Would like that. Also looking at this, we have the Mutant Liberation. This was an interesting team. The Mutant Liberation Front. So another MILF team in the game. Captain Krakoa, Strife already in the game right now. I think we have another version of Strife in there. Hope Summers, Moonstar, we have a Wild Side, so a lot of different characters that are not in the game yet on this team. And last but not least, this looks like Gem and the holograms for me, but I saw their picture, Bad Girls Inc. Looks like a weird Titania or something like that. Yeah, more characters that look like this. Ass, Black Mamba, Diamondback, yeah, Impala, former member. Sure, add this team in the game. Add any of these teams in the game, I would be happy. For me, I look a lot at their kits, but yeah, having a lot of these iconic characters that I grew up with, or some of these weird, strange characters like this Bad Girls Inc. would be interesting to bring to Marvel Strike Force. Let me know your thoughts. What characters or teams would you want to come to the game, Valley Club? Hey, Valley, been watching your content for years now. Thank you, my brother. Thank you for everything that you've done for the community. Have you heard of challenges will be updated anytime soon? Maybe with the Crimson Orb fragments and more gold. Also, any news on more updated incursion campaigns? Thanks again for everything. All right, so last I heard about this was when Cerebro was still part of the community management team. Last I heard was they're not going to be updating these. They're going to be shifting these rewards, so like these gold rewards or your training mat orbs, they're going to be shifting them to events and other places, and I'm not sure why that is. I'm assuming so they could kind of control the amount that's going out to the public, but last I heard they wouldn't be updating these. Now, it was a while ago. Like I said, Cerebro was still with Scopely and Marvel Strike Force, so things may have changed. And if they change, I hope they do something like that soon, because it just doesn't feel right, you know, going to your 3 attempts and not really getting a lot of gold, especially what it means in today's economy. So I'd like them to do that. I think what they want to do is give out more of the stuff, like I said, in these milestones, events, things like that. But I hope eventually, once they go back and clip the new player experience, finish the graphics update, finish a lot of these over-there updates, they have a lot of free time and go back and look at some of this stuff. But last I heard, they didn't plan to do this stuff, but they were going to give more of these rewards in other things like events. Also, as far as the updated incursion campaigns, haven't heard anything about this recently. It was always a surprise when we would get this in like updates, right? The Nexus campaign, incursion campaigns, all this stuff would be good. Now, I'm not sure if they're going to add more to this, just because I'm not sure what other teams they would add. I guess some of the more recent teams get that 7 stars. I haven't heard too much about this recently, so honestly, they may have forgot that this game mode is even there and not going to be updating this for a while. I hope they do update these heroes, villains, or Nexus campaigns, and especially this incursion campaign. I do like to use this, not really for some of these red stars, but some of these dark promotion credits are really, really good as well. So if they update that, that's good. And if they put more characters on there that we could farm, that would be a good source, because right now we got some stores in the game that are getting really, really overloaded, like the Crucible store, a lot of good characters there. Raid store, War store's been overloaded for a while, but yeah, if they could shift some of these characters, some of these more important characters to other nodes, that would be great. Hey again, Valley, so I have a question about Apocalypse. Do you think he's gonna fall off because of Odin's arrival? And will he still be worth getting after Odin comes out? Appreciate that, Valley. So obviously, yes, we get a new character introduced to the meta, a new like top end character. It will reduce the characters of all reduce the value of all previous characters that were introduced to the game. So will Apocalypse fall off a little bit? Yeah, but that empowered basic is still so strong. I think he's still gonna make a big difference in the game. So yes, he'll fall off a little bit, but he's still gonna be a part of the meta, because that empowered basic, very, very strong. I don't think there's another move that does as much damage as you could kind of eliminate one character like that. So even with the arrival of Odin, even with Mephisto's out there, even with Super Skrulls out there, Apocalypse is still an important character, so don't sleep on that character. Hi there, my brother. I hope you and your family are blessed and healthy. So here's my question. Just completed Dark Dimension 6. So I know that Extreme is probably a no-go for the global nodes in Dark Dimension 7. What team should I start leveling up Thanks so much in advance. So Extreme's actually not that bad right now. I used them, or I used part of them in Dark Dimension 7. I just completed Dark Dimension 7, so there should be a video coming out about what I did right, what I did wrong in that chase for Mephisto. But as you notice, I brought up Nightcrawler. Now, the rest of my global non-legendary tunes were based more on Cabal. So Namor, Iron Patriot, Leader, they all got the bump up. And then Black Knight was the last tune that I brought up. Now, as far as other characters, Gambit is another solution there. A big Forge is a big problem when you're facing a Extreme X-Men on defense, because if you don't kill that character or you don't control that character, could be a huge problem. I think that is it, where I would limit my choices to. Quicksilver does have some value, but doesn't really have a solid team. So Gambit is a good choice. Forge is a good choice. The characters that I brought up, the Cabal characters, Nightcrawler, Black Knight, are all good choices. And I am not sure if they're going to be good choices, but if you're kind of forward thinking, looking at that Orcus team, Lady Deathstrike, Scientist Supreme will be members of that Orcus team. You may not need them to be very big in order to beat the Orcus raids and that Orcus, the tech section of it. But this is a forward thinking team. They're going to be lasting in the meta for a while. We know with the Orcus raids that Extreme is not going to be off of the meta for a while. They're still going to be part of getting those bonuses for the Orcus raid. So still have that. And last but not least, as an option, Ares is kind of one of the solutions in the Mystic section of the raids right now. Not a great choice. He's more of a war character, but until we get the Night Stalkers team, the empowered, the passive, the awakened passive of Ares is going to help with getting a lot of getting through those raids. So those are some options as well. But yeah, and Extreme did not fall off. They're still involved in the raids, still strong on defense in Crucible, still strong on defense in War. So if you want to build the Extreme X-Men, they're still a very important team, my brother. Hey, Valley, I have a question and a proposal. Do you think the team orbs are bad? I think they need a guaranteed side pillar shard drop. That would make them like 10x better to open, because people wouldn't be walking away from large openings with a few shards thoughts. It depends on what their intent was. Now, and I think what we're talking about is these like Thanos Annihilator orbs, the Gladiator one and the Gore one. Yeah, these aren't great orbs, but the way that these were billed to us was these were not necessarily for the characters, and these were not the release event for the characters. We would be getting the release event, and these were just kind of bonus on top of that. Also, what we were told is that as far as these center pillars, the big drop rate was more of a catch-up for characters like Silver Surfer and Ultimus. If you didn't have them unlocked as a new player, they didn't want to get shot out of the teams. Kind of like these Illuminati orbs gave a lot of the Black Bolt and Iron Man and Mr. Fantastic shards, not a lot of the Hank Pym and not a lot of Shuri shards. That's because they said it was designed as more of a catch-up mechanic for these. Now, I'm also hearing that these like Silver Surfer and Ultimus, they're not dropping very much, so that kind of is not what we were billed as far as the intent. Also, it was told to us that this was not the release event. However, coupled with the milestones and coupled with this shot here that we see no events here planned for the Annihilators, this ended up being a very bad orb. So as it stands right now, the orb, not a lot of shards for the new Annihilator, so that's not good. Not a lot of shards for the older Annihilators and Surfer and Ultimus, not good. And since we have no release events, these orbs are absolute trash. Hopefully we get a release event soon and they're just kind of bonus like they were billed. But yeah, these orbs are absolute trash, and definitely a guaranteed shard drop rate for any of the Annihilators. Gore, Gladiator, or Endgame Thanos would be much better than we have right now, because what we have right now, no meaningful gear outside of this orange gear, which only helps for like brand new players. For the left and right pillar, yeah, we need a much better orb than this. This orb is pretty trashy right now. Hi Valley, hope you're doing well. Want to ask, should I use elite raid credits to open this orb? I haven't gotten any Gear 19 character yet. I'm afraid to waste resources right now, but I think I want to focus on Annihilator, Logan, Apocalypse, Super Skrull. I think those are good characters to focus on. And as far as this orb, this Crimson Gear orb, it is based on the amount of elite raid credits you have. Now, what can you use those elite raid credits for? When the supply section, you could use it for the awakened abilities for Black Cat and Green Goblin Classic. I think Nova as well. So if you have all of those done, there's no, actually it's only for Green Goblin Classic, because Nova and Black Cat went to normal raid credits. So if you have all of Green Goblin Classic's awakened abilities done, or don't care about those, then yeah, spend all this stuff for your Crimson Gear raid orbs right now and get some characters up to Gear Tier 19. Also, I can't seem to counter Arena Team. Enemy team has Apocalypse, Super Skrull, Gladiator, Logan, Black Knight. My team has Apocalypse, Logan, Ultimus, Silver, Surfer, and Gladiator. Would it be better after I unlock full Annihilator team? I'm satisfied at rank 35 right now, below rank 50. I don't like to lose a match. Hope to get some insight from you. Best of luck to you as well. Now, the problem right now in your enemy's team is Gladiator right now. He is not allowing you to rewind turn meter unless you drop him below 50% health. So once he is eliminated, this battle comes a lot better. And then two problems you're having right now is Old Man Logan and Black Knight. That gets eliminated once Gorb gets built up, because he's going to remove the charges from Black Knight once he has enough focus, remove the revive once it's from Old Man Logan. So both of these characters will get eliminated. So the question is, yes, once you get Gore, Black Knight and Logan on defense lose a lot of value. Until that, they still have some value. But the main thing that I think for me, before I got Gore, before Gore was introduced, was Gladiator. If you could get him down below 50% health very early on, Surfer can help with that, Ultimus could help with that. The battle goes much better. If not, it's a tougher battle. And hopefully you could get that Apocalypse to kill their Logan and not just get stuck behind the Gladiator. So hopefully that helps. But yeah, the matchup gets a lot better, a lot easier, especially with Gore in there. And then with Endgame Thanos, once that character's built up, even better. All right, good morning, Valley. With Orcus and Night Stalkers coming out for raid soon, would you suggest, who would you suggest using the Mystic section, since we won't see a Night Stalker team for at least 2 months? It really depends on what level of the Orcus raids you're doing, because this Bifrost team worked very well at the normal difficulty, difficulty 1, and struggled through difficulty 2, but it was able to get through enough of the first and second node that we could team up all on that boss on difficulty 2. But once we got to level 3, this team does not work. We got stuck behind a few characters. But Dorky Dad put out a video last week with some other teams that could work in the Mystic section. One team that he suggested was Ultimus, based on Ultimus, to get rid of that annoying Sasquatch there. Also Ares. Now the reason for Ares is because of his passive. If you have the Awaken passive, works well. If you don't have the Awaken passive, Ares doesn't really do anything, so this is not gonna make a difference. And then I didn't have Mephisto at the time, Deathpool as well. Also this Bifrost, this partial Bifrost team with Mephisto seemed to work. This team that he had as a save squad, I tried it. They got immediately wiped out, one-shotted. So not sure what the solution is. Obviously, this is a small Mephisto, so maybe it needs a big Mephisto to work. But those are some options. But yeah, don't really need a lot of other solutions outside of Bifrost until you get to difficulty 3. But let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you're struggling with. Hopefully, either myself or some other member of the Valley Club can help you out, my brother. ValleyFlyin, I wish you good luck on the Envoys Crucible tournament. I'm gonna need the luck, because two of my alliance mates that normally help me in Cosmic Crucible, Duelam and Juicy, they're competing, so I'm going against them. So I will need all the luck that you guys could give me, Valley Club. But the first question is, when will we find out what is happening to Professor Xavier, since Odin is Dark Dimension 8? The second question is, after Dark Dimension 6, which Dark Dimension should I put my resources on? Dark Dimension 7 or 8? So I think it's 2 different resources, right? One is based on gear tier 19, your Crimson gear for Dark Dimension 7. Dark Dimension 8 is based on your purple ISO 8. So you could probably work on both at the same time. But as far as Professor Xavier, I think they're still planning on releasing him around the same time, which is probably around March or April of 2025. I don't think that has changed, just the release method for him has changed. I think it was supposed to be Dark Dimension 8, but they moved up a different release method for Odin, so that's gonna be Dark Dimension 8. And whatever they do for Professor Xavier, whether it's like the saga like they did for Apocalypse, or they're gonna call it Dark Dimension 9 or whatever, I don't think the timing of the release method for Xavier has changed. But second question, after Dark Dimension 6, I think you do go for Dark Dimension 7, try to get that Mephisto. Although, like I said, you can go for Mephisto and Odin at the same time. They're 2 different resources. As of right now, to get that purple gear, the only really way to get a lot of that stuff is to push in these events or to buy it. So I would be pushing as hard as you can for the events, pushing as hard as you can for Mephisto. But again, it's kind of like Super Skrull and Apocalypse, right? One needed gear, one needed ISO 8. So you can kind of work for both of them at the same time. And a lot of characters that you're going to build up are going to overlap in that. Hello there, I have a question. I'm new. I want to get Thanos. Usually, how many power cores is needed to obtain a hero? I have 8,700. Also, what's the best option to, I believe it, unlock him? illuminated orb. So right now, that's the only way to unlock him free to play. I guess if you're opening a bunch of power cores, you could use that as well. But you're gonna need a lot of power cores, especially if you're getting the minimum drop rate. We go into the orb section right now and find that Thanos orb to unlock him, the perfectly balanced orb. We look at what the minimum drop rate is, or the minimum shard drop that you get here. It's 6, and these are 675 power cores. So if the minimum drop that you get from this orb is 6, assuming that you're getting the worst luck possible, you need 100 shards to unlock Thanos. You need 16.5, which effectively means 17 orbs to unlock Thanos, 675 power cores. That means if you get the worst possible luck, 11,475 power cores to unlock a 100 shard character. Some characters are unlocked at 50 shards, some are or 45 shards, some are unlocked at 100 shards. If it's a 100 shard character, you're gonna need at least 11,000, assuming you get the worst luck. Now, you might just need one orb if you get the best luck possible, but with these orbs and the high chance to get that minimum drop rate, that 6 drop rate, 46% of the time, I would just assume that these orbs are gonna give you the worst possible drop rate, and do your calculations based on the worst possible drop rate, not the best, because you get a big jackpot, cool, but probably not going to happen based on these percentages here. But as far as the unlock right now, the only way that we can get him free to play is by winning arena and getting some of these Thanos Annihilator orbs right now. So I guess if you're trying to push for Thanos, that's the best way to unlock him. If you have a lot of extra power cores, hopefully you get lucky and don't get that minimum drop rate and can get the unlock from this. Any recommendations for finishing Green Goblin Classic without having to build Rebirth to gear tier 17 or more? Well, technically my Rebirth is not all gear tier 17. If we look at our US agent here, only gear tier 16, and I'm not sure if Winter Soldier and Agent Venom were built up to that levels of the time. Same thing with Captain Carter and Captain America. A lot of this was built after the Green Goblin Classic because they're now on the out of time team. So I think you can get through it, but you do need to build them up a pretty big amount. Unfortunately, the way these are laid out right now, you need Rebirth on mission 2 and you need New Avengers on mission 6, but either Rebirth and New Avengers or New Avengers on mission 10. So you're gonna need one of those teams built up enough. Eventually they should change these requirements because they've done that in the past Legendaries events. I just don't think Green Goblin Classic has been around long enough for them to switch this anytime soon, but they will be switching this. And I think it probably is worth building up Rebirth or New Avengers. Rebirth actually has very little value outside of Captain America and Captain Carter, but I think it is worth building them up just for Green Goblin Classic. I know it sucks to use your resources on not good characters, but if you think about it as putting it towards Green Goblin Classic, it doesn't feel as bad, I guess. Hey, ValleyFlyin, hope you're doing well. I gotta say that I did make it pretty far into Old Man Logan Trial 15 with what you showed. It did take a bit of strategy so I can make it, but I got stuck in the bio section and I was unable to get further because Shang-Chi kept one-shotting all my characters. Even Super Skrull didn't stand a chance. Some of those characters are very, very annoying, especially Shang-Chi. Very, very good character back in the day. His stats didn't hold up, but yeah, his kid is pretty devastating still. Also, could you make it, and hopefully you get your Old Man Logan next time, brother. Hopefully that Shang-Chi doesn't keep you out. Hopefully you can build your Super Skrull a little bigger and smash that Shang-Chi. But also, could you make a tier list showing which characters are worth 1, 2, or 3 diamonds? It'd be pretty helpful because right now, I don't know if I should put diamonds into Merch for Money or Alpha Flight or my Hive Mind besides Void Knight or Weaver. So a lot of times, remember when building up characters, build up characters that you're using. For me, my priority is go arena. So if I'm using the characters a lot in arena, I'm putting diamonds on them, especially if they're non-dark diamond characters. Then I go with the raids. I want to be able to sim my raids every single day. Right now, can't do that because of the Bifrost, can't do that because of the Pegasus, but hopefully once we get Orcus and the Night Stalkers in there, we can start to do that again. But yeah, that's an important consideration. Then after that, it's just for fun. So Merch for Money, you mentioned, they're a war team right now. They're okay in Cosmic Crucible, they're very good in war. If that's important to you, build them up. Alpha Flight, they're a raid team, a war defense team. So if you're not getting through those spotlight raids on a daily basis, you're having trouble in the Alpha Flight section, that would be a team to build up. Hive Mind, I think, is a little more important because that is a team that's going to last for a while. You know they're part of the Orcus raids. They're getting bonuses for the Orcus raids. And Void Knight is very, very good. But so keep that in mind. Build up the teams that you're using just to give you some idea of what teams that what characters that I brought up to diamonds. Well, I bought some diamonds for Nightcrawler, Void Knight, Kang, Ghost Rider, Robbie Reyes. I'm not sure if I would do that right now, but back in the day, he was very worth it. Namor brought him up more based on Cosmic Crucible. SuS, Icarus brought them up because I was using them a lot. Who else? These Spider Society is very good as well. Very annoying on defense in War and Crucible, and is one of the raid teams that you need for the Orcus raids. Also need them for the Spotlight raids, so that is a team that you could invest in as well. Gambit, I bought some diamonds for him because his pings very annoying in defense in Crucible and War, the Extreme X-Men team. And I think I brought for Miss Marvel Hardlight back in the day when she was still part of the arena meta. That's about all at this time that I would build up. Maybe more Cabal characters because I like Crucible. If you don't like Crucible, probably don't need to put too many diamonds to them. And yeah, once we get the gold stars for the Annihilators, that's the next team that I'm gonna be building up. But it's gonna be far away before we get the gold stars for them, so that's not gonna be for a while, my brother. Maybe an updated Dark Dimension 6 in the future. Following your video, I'm building for Dark Dimension 7, 8, and Orcus. I feel like my Dark Dimension 6 gear tier 18 characters are all over the place, not necessarily optimal. Or has a SuS train left the station? Should I be focused on 7 and 8? Well, you're gonna have a lot of overlap between Dark Dimension 6 and a lot of overlap between Dark Dimension 7. 8 has its own unique ISO 8 gear system, so that's gonna be a little different, but 6, 7 has a lot of overlap. If we look at the requirements for Dark Dimension 7 and Dark Dimension 6, they're gonna be very similar. You have your global cosmic city section, and you have your global city and cosmic section. Only difference is non-legendary, non-global for these three sections. You still have an own unique section for legendary, own unique section for mythic for Dark Dimension 7, but for Dark Dimension 6, you can use Apocalypse. You can use legendary characters here. So as far as global for Dark Dimension 6, I would lean into a lot of these similar characters here. The global characters, I mentioned Cabal, I mentioned Extreme X-Men, mentioned Black Knight. Probably would do the same for Dark Dimension 6 because there's no legendary characters there. You can start to build your legendary characters and use them for Dark Dimension 6 and your Apocalypse characters as well for global section, but just know you have to build up some other characters for Dark Dimension 7. So a lot of overlap that you get. As far as city, I'd probably build something like this, probably based more on Spider Society if you have the gear. Only downside of building Spider Society, a lot of skill gear there. So if you have the gear though, Spider Society is gonna be a great team. Ghost Rider, Robbie Reyes, and maybe Vulture, the rest of the Spider Society would be good for both Dark Dimension 6 and 7. And as far as the cosmic sections, Icarus, SuS still very good. Void Knight still very good. We have Kang there. For 6, you can still use Kestrel, and that's a great choice. And as you can see, I took in this Cockroach, Ravager, Stitcher. Didn't want to take him to Dark Dimension 5, 6, or 7. I took him into all 3 of those just because he's going to be a fast character. And hopefully the other 4 characters that you bring in can kind of carry the load. Void Knight and Kang, very, very good. Icarus, SuS has some great synergy with each other. So you're just getting a little bit of healing from Stitcher. That's what I brought into that section. So hopefully this helps you. Legendary is going to be a little different. You're non-horseman legendary, so you can't bring in the Red Hulk, Rogue. You can't bring in Archangel, and you can bring in Morgan Le Fay as well, but all the other legendary characters you can. Old Man Logan is option. Black Cat's an option. Green Goblin Classic is an option. And then for the legendary Apocalypse section, build up Apocalypse, and you can build up some of the same characters that you're going to build for legendary, because Old Man Logan, Black Cat, Green Goblin Classic weren't around at the time that Dark Dimension 6 was built up, and especially Old Man Logan is going to make this section easy mode. So build up whoever you want for this non-legendary, non-horseman legendary section, because Old Man Logan is going to smash through this for you. And then same characters for Apocalypse. So hopefully that helps get into Dark Dimension 6, 7, and preparing for 8. And I hope we got some good news about the Annihilators and Shattered Dimension very, very soon. Hopefully you got some value from this video. If you did, leave it a like. It is free for you, tremendously helps the channel. And if you want to check out what are the best characters to put purple ISO 8 on right now, check out the video up there, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a great rest of your day. Hulk fist bump, ValleyFlyin out. Have a great one, guys.